What's up, guys? It's Trevor with Embers Fireplaces. We're in the electric fireplace room. Uh-oh. You know what that means. If we're in the electric fireplace room, that means we have a new electric fireplace. Which one is it? You guys excited? Here it is. The new Dimplex or Fabre? I don't know how to say it. This is a new and improved Optimist, you could call it. You guys, let's talk about it because it's pretty stinking awesome. Okay, so this is the Dimplex Fabre series, and what they've done is they have a new line, and they sort of rebranded it, and it's under like Fabre, but it is a Dimplex product. Now, I don't really know why they've sort of branded it with its own brand. I'm not really sure, but it's a whole new line of fireplaces. And what's really cool is Dimplex also makes this in a gas unit. So we'll overlay some clips right now to show you what this looks like in gas. We got some footage of a gas unit as well. So what's really cool is you can order this as a gas unit or an electric. So you basically choose your fuel type. And then we have it set up as a bay window. You can order it 3 different ways. You can order as a bay window with all 3 sides open. You can order it with either the left or right hand side closed off and just one corner open, or you can order it as a flat front and have just the front open if you want. That just depends on your particular install configuration. We are really excited about this product, and there's a lot of really cool stuff I absolutely love about it that I want to talk about. So let's start with the first thing. We mentioned that they make it in a gas or electric. Now, what's really, really cool about this guy, this is the first electric fireplace I have ever seen where we're starting to blur the lines between gas and electric. Now, what do I mean by that? We'll show you some pictures, but this firebox in here is an absolute monster. It's like thick galvanized steel. It's the type of firebox that you would see in a gas fireplace. And quite frankly, I think it's the same firebox that they're using with their gas unit. So what's really cool is you kind of pick a model, it's the same firebox, and then you choose a fuel type. So what we're seeing is electric fireplaces really develop and start to creep into that gas fireplace category and start to blur the lines between the two. Because normally these fireboxes and electrics are pretty lightweight. And quite frankly, that's perfectly sufficient for what they do. This doesn't even need to be this heavy duty like a gas fireplace either. I'm assuming it's just easier than re-engineering a whole new box. That's why they do that. But from a manufacturer standpoint, we're starting to see the lines blurred. Also, we'll give you some close-ups as we talk about the logs a little bit further, but aesthetically, it's really blurring the lines. If you didn't know anything about fireplaces, Elijah, and you had a quick glance at this, what would be your initial thought?
That's some real fire.
Yeah, it almost like make you do a double take, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's just funny how the industry kind of works. Is when I first started selling fireplaces, is the gas fireplaces were the phony ones, and the wood burning was the real ones. Well, now it's gone a step further. The gas fireplace is the real one, and the electric fireplaces are the phony ones. Advancements in electric fireplaces are coming along so rapidly. It's starting to be pretty exciting how cool this is because it looks like a real or a gas fireplace. It looks like a gas fireplace, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So that's what's so exciting is it really dives into that realm, and the way it's constructed even specifically, it's the most heavy-duty electric fireplace I have ever seen. So let's talk about the technology here. It's the same technology that's in all the other Optimists that we've seen with some improvements, which we'll touch on. If you're not familiar, you're new to the channel, what Optimist technology is it's essentially a water line that goes into the fireplace, and it's essentially a humidifier using LED lighting, and that's what that flame appearance is. That's a humidifier without backlighting in it. There's a little more involved than that, but essentially that's what it is. And so but it's not just a regular Optimist because it does have improvements. For example, let's talk about the regular Optimist. Why would you buy this over the Optimist built-in box or the cassettes? Well, we'll give you some overlays of the cassettes and the built-in box if you're not familiar with those. But those are all very linear style, very rectangular. See how this fireplace here is, for the folks that don't know what linear is, these are linear rectangle contemporary fireplaces. So we actually have the linear Optimist. You know, again, it's just like these other electric fireplaces. This is it here. I just turned it on. If you want to check out a full-length video on this, you can check it on our channel. So it's just starting up. So normally the flame looks better, but see what I'm talking about? This, it's just a little more contemporary, a little more linear. And it's not that necessarily one's better than the other, it's just what you're after. So with this new E-Matrix series, what we've accomplished is a very, very traditional firebox. See, what the issue with the Optimist is it's contemporary. So even though it looks super, super realistic, it's still that more linear style look, which is super popular. But now we have a square, more upright design. There's a couple problems with the existing Optimist trying to do a square upright design that they had to change in this unit. One is the logs. So again, over here, let me show you the logs one more time. So even though these logs look really good, see how they're only 5 or 6 inches tall. So you're not, if you try to put that in a square firebox, it's just not gonna fill the box up. And this is the log set that goes in all the units, in the linear units. It goes, and it's designed for linear use. So they had to redesign the log set to give us a taller, more square feel. So see that here? Let's get some close-ups of the logs. So we got much bigger, beefier logs. And then again, we have the pulsating glow on all the logs as well, which looks super cool. Also, the other thing, and one of the super cool things that they've had to sort of redesign for the square tall box is the flame. Do you notice how, are you seeing how the flame's taller, Elijah?
I am, yeah.
So the flame is taller. This is accomplished by 2 reasons. One, by having it in all glass, the Optimist is not affected by its environment. So if you were to walk by normally, it would affect the way that flame sort of dancing a little bit. When it's completely sealed, it can stay put exactly where it needs to be, which allows those LED lights to shine up on it continuously so that flame sort of climbs. The other thing is, we'll talk about this in a second, but this is an air vent opening. So it's basically pulling air in here, and then there's a fan on the top that's sort of pulling that flame up. If you get the camera up and in, you can see you'll be able to see it on. I don't know if you can see it running, it's way up there. But that's essentially helping to pull that mist up. And so the flame is consistently about right here, it looks like in the video. Does that look about right, Elijah?
Yep.
And then as it dissipates, just like a real flame would, you see it dissipating up into here. So we are, yeah, I can even see it from the side here. We're getting flame height in 3/4 of the firebox. That's awesome in a super tall traditional firebox. So completely redesigned for a traditional application. And it's stinking awesome. I think it's the most realistic electric fireplace I've ever seen. That's saying a lot, I think, because I see a lot of them. In a traditional firebox, that is. This is the best traditional electric fireplace, and it's not even close, hands down. If you're looking for a traditional fireplace, this is the one you need. If you're looking at linears, of course we have a lot of options, but in a traditional box, you just can't beat this. So let's talk about some of the features. So we have the traditional style, the taller flames, the better logs, that all comes standard. We can adjust our flame height from our remote. And then we also, just again, like the Optimist, we have audio controls. So we can turn this on to where it's crackling. So now we have the audio on, and I don't know if my mic's gonna pick it up. Let me just be quiet for a second. But we're getting a nice subtle fire crackling, and you can adjust the volume on there. Pretty simple, not a whole lot to it. Basically, we have on, off, we can adjust our flame height, and we can adjust our audio if we want the audio on. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. There are a few drawbacks, I would say. We want to talk about that, although we're giving this fireplace a lot of love and it's the best I've ever seen in a traditional box. We do have to mention a couple things that aren't my favorite. So, like I said, we have this air vent here, and that is required. So a lot of people don't necessarily like the air vent down below. You can definitely mask this in a couple different ways. You can put a vent cover over the top. We just had it painted black, so we just kind of left it. You can disguise them on the sides. So there's a lot of ways to sort of hide this, but it definitely needs an air slot to draw air. Thing is, with these designer type fireplaces in gas or wood or tall flare, Regency City Series, some of our higher end models, that's very common. So that's not a huge deterrent, but we want to mention it's not our favorite that we have to put a vent in, but it just can't run without it. So you'll have to find a spot to put this. Again, you can do it on the sides or in the front. You can disguise it cleverly if you want in your install application. The other thing is this back firebox, I do wish we had a reflective panel. It's just a matte finish. That's just me though. That's just my personal preference. I sort of like the reflective back to enhance the fire. But a lot of our customers actually like matte black anyways. So that's just me. I wouldn't say one's better than the other. That's just kind of what I like. Do you like the matte black or you like the reflective?
I'd have to go with the matte black.
Oh, see, there you go. Elijah likes the matte black. Last thing, last install hurdle is gonna be, again, we have this painted black, so it's not a huge deal. Let me just turn up the lights so you can see good in here. The fireplace, because it's such a clean face design, it does require this access panel. Now this comes with the firebox, so you don't have to buy this, but essentially we have our controls in here. So manually, what's nice, if you lose your remote, you can control everything here. And really you'd want an access panel anyways, because we have our water line coming in. Then you can't see it right here, but we also have a filter. So we have a filter to keep from hard water deposits, hard water spots, things like that. So if you had to change out a filter, there's really no way around an access panel. And again, you can cleverly hide this somewhere you want. But just again, another little install hurdle, but I can't think of a way around it. Even with your Optimist, the regular Optimist, you have to have an access panel somewhere if you're running running a water line to it. The other thing is, because this box is sealed, the traditional Optimist you can always set up on tanks. This cannot be set up on tanks. You have to plumb water to it. It's mandatory, because it would be a nightmare trying to take this glass off all the time and get into it. Outside of that, I love it. I think if it's a big success, you can see this come out in other sizes eventually. Right now, this is the only size. Only other downside, like all Optimist products, it's expensive. It's one of the most expensive I've seen. But again, I think that has to do with the construction of the firebox and just sort of how high-end feel it has. It has that designer type feel that you're getting with these fireplaces. So those are some of the drawbacks. But all in all, I think it's filling a need that we haven't had, because so much attention goes to these linear modern styles, and we still have a lot of the purists that are just looking for the most realistic look possible. Typically in that realistic look, you're not achieving a realistic look in a 10-foot wide fireplace or 6-foot wide, 5-foot wide fireplace, because traditional fireplaces, traditional classic wood burning fireplaces aren't that size. They're this size. And so this is it's checking that box. So all you purists out there, your traditionalists that want that most realistic fireplace possible. And again, of course, the best thing with electric fireplaces, we don't have to worry about ducting, gas lines, things like that. So you'll definitely, even though you're going to pay more for the fireplace, you're going to save some money on installation, venting materials, installation headaches, things like that. There's no restrictions at all from a heat standpoint. So we can do artwork, wood, shiplap, mantles, TVs. You can just go to town. Drywall. I mean, you can do whatever you want. There's no heat restrictions. Ooh, that was another thing we didn't talk about. Only other drawback too, and I'd say customers are 50-50 on this when it comes to electric, it does not have a heat option. So some of you guys are just so dead set on having a heater, even though it doesn't do a ton for you in these applications. it does not have a heater. So you'll have to cross this off your list if you're dead set on heat. If you're not dead set on heat and it's ambiance only, we have that a lot of customers in warmer climates, or even in colder climates, they're heating in other formats. Don't let that be a huge deterrent for you. But if it is, you certainly can look at other products. You know, the Optimist linears do have heaters. So you could go that route. If you love the Optimist technology and want a heater, you probably have to look at a linear. But right now it doesn't have a heater. So again, the drawbacks are the vents and access panels. It's expensive and no heat. The plus side is it is awesome. It is you know what. It is the best looking electric fireplace, traditional, I've ever seen. Hands down. What is that worth? That's up for you to decide. I can't decide that for you, right? You guys have to decide that. Okay. This video has gone on way too long. I've said what I needed to say. Am I missing anything, Elijah? What am I missing? You put this together. You think I'm good? Don't forget, if you're in the Denver, Colorado area, you can always come down to our showroom, see these products for yourself in person. And I know I've been promising you guys a new top 5 video. You guys have been complaining about it plenty. And I'm just waiting, because I'm waiting on one more fireplace to come. It's coming in the next month or so. As soon as that hits, because I already know it's going to be in the top 5. As soon as I get that, new top 5 video coming, I promise. Top 5. Check out our website. These are all on our website. You can browse our website for them. You can call or text our staff, of course. Again, it's free shipping nationwide. Stay tuned for more videos.